What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. We really have to talk about the announcement that Jenelle Evans made on social media yesterday, claiming to have separated from her husband of 2 years, David Eason. I personally am not buying this. I think the whole thing is fishier than the Pacific Ocean, but let's get into that a little bit later. Let's start off with her statement about the whole entire thing. She said, and I quote, "I've mostly kept off social media the past few days because I've been focused on making some big life decisions. I've lived my life on camera since I was 17 years old, and a lot of it hasn't been pretty, but it's been my life. Like anyone else, I want what's best for my kids, and I want to be happy. With time away from Teen Mom, I've started to look at my life differently, and I know I need to make changes. I'm starting that now. The kids and I have moved away from David. Nobody gets into a marriage expecting it to end, but I know that that's what's best for me and for my kids. Today I filed papers to start that process. I appreciate the support from everybody who has asked how I am. Me and the kids are doing great. We need some time to be together, but you'll hear from us again soon. Jenelle." Backing it up, at the beginning of her letter, she claims to have been quiet on social media for a couple of days, but we all know that that is not true. Jenelle had stoked the flames of a separation just days ago when she was in New York City with MTV, and she started posting like all these like heartbreak, Tweety Bopper songs from like Ariana Grande and all of that. She was tweeting like subliminally from like her ghost account about how it's always David's fault, but she has to always apologize. Like she was creating all of this freaking frenzy. So that is an absolute lie. Second of all, the overall tone of this open letter that Jenelle is writing is just not Jenelle whatsoever. First of all, it's eloquent, and we all know that that's something Jenelle never will be and never has been. It's very obvious that it was written by like some kind of PR or communications professional. We know that Jenelle has had a PR person for the past couple of years, but this person that she's had has never been able to put out a statement quite like this, which is why I'm suspecting that someone out of Jenelle's pay range that she can pay wrote this statement from her for her, and I'm suspecting that it's someone from the camp of MTV. It's just way too convenient that Jenelle has been thinking about separating from David the past, like what, couple of days she's saying, so maybe let's say a week, and also within that week it's conveniently time for the MTV reunion where all of the Teen Mom 2 girls are, and she's called in to go talk to MTV. Like, none of this adds up in my world. I think it is all so damn sketchy. And third of all, Jenelle never breaks up with people. You know, like no matter how bad her relationships have been, Jenelle is just that level of needy and clingy and desperate that she would never leave anybody. Not even Nathan when he was a psycho to her, not even David, you know, when he had the kids taken away due to his actions. She did not even leave him then. So you really expect me to believe that as things are calming down, no dogs have been shot in the last couple of months or weeks, all of a sudden she decides to leave him? It just, no, it just does not make any sense. And even if she decided to leave David, a lot of the rumors are saying, oh, Jenelle was, the last straw for her was realizing how broke they were about to be because they weren't getting any money, obviously, from MTV. Apparently the contract that they were locked into prevented her from pursuing other projects with other networks. And then on top of that, sponsorships on social media keep getting trashed because viewers of the show who know about her and David's actions keep writing into all the sponsors and telling them to drop her as a client. She tried to do a makeup launch, and then like people talked to the owner of the salon venue and like got that shut down. Also on top of the makeup, she claimed that the makeup was some kind of cruelty free or something like that. People rang around, got the company who owns the rights to the logo to tell her to drop it from the packaging. Like, people have been causing her problems everywhere. So I'm just saying, being with David was the biggest financial mistake of her life, and it almost completely ruined her financially, left her completely destitute. So if she really was about to leave him for that reason, I feel like she'd go kicking and screaming, like telling everybody how terrible of a person that he is, regardless of the fact that he is her baby daddy and her husband. You know, like that's just always been Jenelle's MO, to destroy people's reputations. Like, why has she not filed a police report against him, accusing him of of abuse at this point. Like, that's Jenelle's formula that she follows every time she exits a relationship. Trash the person all over social media, destroy their reputation, and charge them with domestic violence. And none of that has happened here. All we've gotten is some kind of pre-packaged public relations statement that doesn't even read like someone that Jenelle could afford to pay wrote it. Because Jenelle and David got married in North Carolina, they need to be separated for at least 1 year before she can go ahead and file for a divorce from him. But she claims in that statement that she filed paperwork in order to get the ball rolling on their separation. And so I have to ask, it's been like 24 hours now at least. Maybe she even filed these papers, a couple of days prior and just didn't say so. Like there was no timeline given in her statement. So why haven't we seen any evidence of this paperwork, especially from a source like TMZ, who always has the paperwork on literally everything before it even gets announced? Like as soon as that thing gets like stamped, clicked or whatever, it's typically on TMZ's website. Yet somehow, some way, at least 24 hours later, probably more, from the time that she filed these separation papers, we still have not seen them. Is that not a little bit suspicious to anybody? Needing to live apart from David for at least a year, Jenelle, of course, has to find a new place to live because there's no way in heck David is about to leave that swamp that he worked so hard to get into without any money, right? So according to Radar Online, Jenelle is currently in Tennessee with all of the kids, all of them meaning Kaiser and Ensley, because remember, Jace is Barbara's son. So she's over there in Tennessee with the two kids. And David, the guy with the super loose fuse, the father's rights guy against parental alienation, the guy who shot the family dog that did nothing to his daughter in the name of defending his daughter, hasn't gone on an online rampage about the situation at all? Really? Really? Like nothing? Like that just, it doesn't make any sense. Neither Jenelle nor David are acting like themselves in this entire situation. I think that they're trying to take advantage of the fact that she can't file for divorce in North Carolina until next year. And so they're probably trying to pretend that this whole separation is legitimately going to lead to a divorce to finesse all the Teen Mom viewers and then just run back to each other at the very end of it. Because this time, if they do get to re-sign with MTV, if she does, sorry, because this time they'll go in knowing that MTV will legitimately fire her if she doesn't leave David. So probably gonna stack that money up and try to make investments or something to make sure that they're a lot more comfortable financially this time around when she does inevitably get the boot again for not legitimately leaving David. According to Radar Online, a few sources close to Jenelle said that her biggest reason for filing for divorce against David is because she's running out of money. And I quote, "It went off like a light bulb in her head. I have this husband that doesn't work. What in the hell am I going to do?" So she decided to end the marriage before it was too late. There's no money left and she wants to make money again. Guys, again, time out here. Since when does Jenelle want a man who works? Like, think of all the boyfriends that she's had. They've never really worked, or if they did work, when they got with her, it stopped because she's a stage 5 clinger who does not want the man to ever leave the house. She just wants to be glued together like Velcro all day, sitting around, allegedly, doing drugs. And so this statement, again, is something that is not very Jenelle whatsoever. She's never once had a problem with a man not working. Like, that is her kryptonite. Like, she loves that. They're also saying that her family is incredibly supportive of her alleged separation from David and looking to support her in any way that they can. It really seems like the money angle is the number one push in all of this. It's just, it makes me extremely uncomfortable considering all of the trauma that being with David put all of her kids through. Like, David terrified her 2 sons, right? Like, Jace admitted to his psychiatrist that he was terrified of David. Apparently he was bedwetting because he was so terrified of this David character. And then Kaiser as well. Like, David had been accused many times with alleged photo evidence and a lot of different things that he had been abusing Kaiser, who had met him at like 4 years old. So that was really hard to see. And then of course, when he went around back and shot the family dog, like, that was shocking for all of the children, and all of the children had to be taken away from the house. So the fact that Jenelle was perfectly fine with all of these things happening to her children and then wants to circle back and claim that this decision is the best for her and her family, And apparently the decision is only based on the fact that being with David stops her from making money. Like, that's not okay. And I don't think that viewers of Teen Mom, or Teen Mom 2, would just welcome her back on the show with open arms, without a fuss, without a fight, knowing that this person, as a quote-unquote mother, which I don't think she is, condoned such horrific living conditions for her kids and even allowed them to be separated when they actually did not have to. If Jenelle would have kicked David out of the house, the kids could have had like a good sense of normalcy throughout the entire investigation, because she was never under investigation herself, but instead she chose David over her children. So I just, would you be happy with her returning without David? Like, because to me, like, when you see someone make those kinds of decisions, you can't really blame the person that they're with anymore. It just comes down to who that person is. And this is who Jenelle has consistently been. She's just never been a person to put her kids above the men in her life. Like, it's just never been that way. It'll never be that way. She'll come back to the show. If she comes back to the show and legitimately leaves David, you'll see her with someone else who's going to be like the exact same person, dressed up with a new name, new something else, but it's still the exact same person at the core of his being. So what really even is the point? I watched a TMZ news clip this afternoon, and they claimed that Jenelle is really pushing to be back on Teen Mom 2 as soon as possible, filming, because the holidays are coming up. American Thanksgiving is this month. We're already in November, and then Christmas is coming up, and she allegedly wants to show that she can get through the holidays as a single mom, and she thinks that that is going to be a big ratings draw, because as we all know, the ratings for Teen Mom 2 have been plummeting. Honestly, it's so boring. I'm still trying to drag myself into watching the last episode, but I don't think that this is what it's going to be. I think people are fundamentally disgusted with her as a person. The show has stretched on for long enough that people are not all that interested anymore. So I don't think this is worth it for MTV, but I do believe that they're probably like eyes and ears on the ground, listening to all the feedback to see how supportive or how combative the audience is going to be about bringing Jenelle back on the show before they actually do decide one way or the other. Because, as much as I hate to admit it, it does seem like a very serious consideration on MTV's part at the moment. So whatever your opinions are, definitely feel free to leave them down below, because I'm sure they're reading every blog, like every social media community, like everything, before pulling the trigger, no pun intended. And really quickly, last point of my conspiracy theory, as I kind of like go over the cliff here, I honestly am of the impression that MTV is going so far with this market research to see whether or not they should bring Jenelle back, that they're paying off blogs to spread this information of Jenelle separating from David. Like, first of all, I think it was a PR person that they hired for Jenelle who created this statement. Second of all, I think it's their own sources talking to Radar Online, talking to TMZ about why Jenelle allegedly separated from David. And, again, TMZ always backs up their claims with receipts. So the fact that they would write about a legal separation where Jenelle claimed to have filed papers and not show us any papers, to me, sounds like they might have accepted a little something to, push that story forward. But I digress. Enough about me. I'm more excited to hear what you have to say about this very complicated separation situation. Make sure to leave all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.